All right, been a long day, but a long couple days. We just went out and spent the last, almost like an 8-month venture on trying to locate Jeeps, CJs, YJs, TJs, tubs, frames. And it took us literally that long to finally be able to say, okay, let's get out and actually go pick these things up. We had them secured, trusting that people were going to hold on to them, which luckily they did. So there's still some honest people out there. And you can see, and this whole trailer was loaded. We had 10 tubs. We started listing yesterday, already went through and listed some of those. Some of them are getting done today. There'll be one more tomorrow. But as far as CJs go, there were only 2. Unfortunately, they're just that hard to get. And this is a low A grade. So it's still an A grade. So I'm excited for this one for a few reasons. One, it puts it into a price point that I think people can grab or swallow, I should say, in a way. I mean, it's, these are expensive. They're hard to find. That's all there is to them. So, and CJs, by and large, this is a late model. So this is going to be your 81 to 86, which you can use on a 76 to 80. They bolt right on. They're same height, width, length. The same bolts to your frame, everything. Matter of fact, we have videos of those up on our YouTube channel showing all that stuff. But the main thing is that if you're running full doors or half doors or soft doors, if you're an early tub guy or an early CJ guy, CJ7 guy, and you're not running doors at all, or you're running soft doors, or you're running half doors, or you're running late full doors, steel doors, you can use this tub, no problem. It's where you run into an issue on them, and it's a lot easier to go early to late than it is late to early. So you can still run this. This one is viable from 76 to 86. But again, I like to be very specific when I do it and let you know that. So now what makes it an A-? Let's get right into the nitty gritty on it. So we got a ding back here. Okay. It's accessible from both sides, really easy to fix that one. And that's about it as far as that corner goes. Okay. The side of it, nice and clean. Starting to get a little bit of thinning paint. You can start seeing it, but there's no rot in this tub side. It is really clean. Okay. The lower rocker on this side, excellent. It had the original, those holes at the bottom there were for the trim, that chrome trim. You can see it was a Laredo or Renegade, one of the packages with the pinstriping on it gives it away. All right, so that side's excellent shape. You got a little ding right here. I'm very thorough. You're gonna see it all, okay? The top of the cowl, very clean. Got a little bit of surface here, but no soft spots, no rush, just a wire brush. Clean that up. This is all nice and solid. I've seen a lot of CJs lately, even A grades, where they're starting to get bad here. So needs to be cleaned up a little bit, but no replacement metal, no sheet metal, anything like that, okay? Same here. The other thing that sucks is when people break bolts off in those and they don't drill the head off all the way, and they sit there with a pry bar to try to pop the head off because they didn't drill it all the way. And it just completely mangles these. So sometimes it is what it is. We don't get a choice, but it is nice to see that it hasn't been done there. The firewall, nice and clean, factory. A couple things you'll probably go, what the heck is that? Somebody had fuel injection on this and they were using Mopar injection. That's what that is, a MAP sensor. Your CJ doesn't have that unless you have that on it, and it's just a bracket bolts on. No big deal, okay? But it's something that you're probably going, it should have been pulled. The antenna should have been pulled. There's a few things on this thing, but that's about it. All right, so that in itself, if it was just that ding in that corner, this would still be a high A grade, like an A+. The only thing that knocks it down to a lower A is right here. And I know you're gonna go, oh my God, what the heck is that? But let me show you, let me tell you. The one I had up yesterday, which we sold already, had the same thing. They were thin, they were getting there. They weren't completely open, but I worked on this quite a bit today because one thing is here, is I wanted to illustrate and show that what you're seeing is what it is. There's no further damage there. And specifically, these usually, when these rot here, they rot here, and it's not at all. This is actually really clean through here, and it rot, same thing on that side. So the material that you need to replace is gonna be the top of this. When I flip it over, I'm gonna show you how less invasive this actually is, and it didn't even get into that lower channel. I'm gonna show you how clean the bottom of this tub is. You're gonna be very impressed with it. And again, yes, it knocks the price down a lot. I mean, $800 because of these little things on it, which is significant. because we don't discount our CJ tubs ever. They hold a little bit different grades than our later tubs just because they're so freaking elusive and hard to get, but they're there. So let's continue on, and then I'll get nitty gritty and show you that stuff, okay? This side panel here, quarter panel, whatever you want to call it, above your rocker, absolutely beautiful. Down through here. Now, this is another area that loves to rot, and this is not rotten on this thing, both sides, okay? They usually rot here on both inner and outer. This is clean. There's no rot there. Same there. So that, if it's not that, it's that. It's like a toss-up between, you know, what it is. And honestly, way easier to fix this. It's flat steel. It's a sheet metal that goes on top. If it was into the channel, it'd be a much worse case to mess with. That's got layered there. There's layers there that you have to get into. There's a supportive channel. If it's not done right, you lose your strength out of the tub. So you know, yeah, you'll go, oh, he's just a salesman. I've been doing this for 21 years. And I'll tell you, I went out and personally said, okay, yes on this one, because they're that hard to find, and it is still a really, really clean tub. I'm still super amped to have this thing. And again, we don't rarely get them down into the lower price points because we really don't find them. And there's a lot of times where somebody goes, oh man, I can do that. That's no problem. So saves them some money, and it's not expensive to do it. So the other thing, and you can't even see it, and I want to show it here real quick, but the bottom of the skirting lip on this thing is folded up just a little bit, okay? I took a couple pry bars I had. I just wanted to see, and just a little bit of work. I didn't want to cause, you know, some body shop, you can do it a lot better with the tools, but I just folded up just slightly so to see if it would go flat, and it will. It's completely accessible. But again, I'm showing you this thing like you're standing here next to me. I want to under promise and over deliver, as we always say out here. So, okay, and as you can see there, other than not seeing the holes, which you can see on the other side, and that's where you can really go, okay, I can kind of see it there. But if you were just to walk up on that Jeep, unless you were looking or crawled underneath it, you wouldn't even see that. You're going to see this tub as its entirety once it shows up at your house. So for me to sit here and BS around, hey, this thing's amazing, you know, it is amazing. It's a great tub. So it's in all the CJ tubs we've done in 20 years, this is definitely in the top 10. We don't get that clean of CJ tubs anymore, even though we bust our ass trying to find them. They are just that freaking hard to get. So again, take it as it is. If it's not something you want to deal with, that's okay. That's totally fine. I'm not going to twist your arm. This tub will sell. It's not an issue. But do understand that these things that it does have are all within the wheelhouse of just somebody in the garage, and doesn't necessarily have to go down to a body shop. That's all I'm going to say about the top, because it really speaks for itself. You get the feet back here. Again, a little oxidation on the top here, but no layers lost. Okay, the wheel well is nice and straight. Okay, got a couple extra little holes. I always like to point little things out like that. They probably had a speaker or something they mounted up here. But it's an original clean tub. It's in very, very clean shape. The back is nice. There's no rot here. The seams are all straight and not all torn out. I've seen these things where they warp and they blow themselves out. Matter of fact, there's a tub up. We have a cheap tub, about half the cost of both the ones we've been putting up. Had it forever, and it just goes to show you, it really doesn't have anything to do with money when it comes to that stuff. Because, you know, cheap would be like, oh my goodness, yeah. And it's still much better than 80% of the CJs from the Midwest, East Coast out there. But it comes down to how much more time am I going to have something and something like that versus something like this, and does it outweigh the dollar? And if it doesn't, then buy that one, or look at that one at least, consider it. And like I said, we've had it for a while. So it's a yellow one, you can't miss it. It's got gigantic friggin' green flames on it. And it's a perfect example of being told, yes, it's rust free, and then showing up there. I drove 5 hours each way for that thing, and then got there and go, holy moly, this is not rust free. I was able to get some axles and other things we needed, so went ahead and did it. And I didn't want to go home empty handed, but it is the perception. And that's one of the reasons I like these videos, because I can sit here and talk my head off, but ultimately you're the one watching this video. You're the one that ultimately says he's either full of shit or no. You know, there's value. I see it. It's a great looking tub compared to what I'm working with. This is a prom queen. So, all right, let me pause it real quick. I'm going to put it up on its side and show you all those areas I mentioned and exactly what I was talking about, so you can see that up close and personal. If my phone times out, I don't think it will, but it did earlier. It didn't time out. It got overheated in the sun. Sun's going down, so it's not as hot, and direct sunlight kills these phones, even as new as they are. All right, so let's there's the elephant in the room, right? Yeah. Okay, what I was talking about earlier, see this channel here? We're gonna count them off because we always do. A couple things I want you to see in here. One, how clean the channel is, how straight it is, how clean it is, okay? The flap or whatever fold you want to call it, that's all part of one piece, okay? This is all solid. There's no rot in this at all. So that means when you replace the top, you don't want to take a hacksaw to this. You're going to cut out one of the most vital parts of this whole tub. And what really makes this still an A tub, which are these channels, okay? You want nice, clean, solid channels. It is really, I mean, let me give you an idea. If you didn't fix this, you could bolt this thing to your CJ frame, and it's not, other than you're going to get a breeze and a better water flow, their structure is here, okay? Now, I wouldn't suggest doing that for several reasons, because this is going to continue to go out, especially if you're in a humid area, an area they use brine, you're going to be planning on using it in the wintertime, you know, yada, yada, yada. So definitely needs to be fixed. And the extent of it is about 1 foot, okay? It's probably a little bit generous. It's probably less than that. But you got, if you look at your tub, you're looking at a rib here. Oh, they all have them. It's right at the edge of that rib, okay? And then here, you're probably right around where this bends here, okay? And it goes straight again. This is about where it is here. It's a little higher, but for sake of that. So, okay, that's it. That's what you need to replace, right? This back here, just like I told you, nice and clean, okay? This is all solid. This isn't impossible to fix if it was rotten, and it is oftentimes they are rotten here, but it's nice to see you don't have to work with anything here. It is literally a matter of peeling this back, cleaning this up, getting some rust proofing stuff in there. You can see the foam. This is all foam that they did from the factory, okay? And then the other side is no different. It's almost exactly the same. Matter of fact, it's actually a little less on this side because it doesn't get into this other side at all. But per support, these are your roll bar bolts. This one is here. I didn't pull it, but the head's out there, okay? Easy to pull, all right? Plenty of meat on it. The way that this is and the way that this supports, it would be, I mean, you can do it again, how you want to do it, but you can cut this out, or you can go across and just lay it right there on top, weld it in place, grind it down. I will tell you something here in just a second on this tub that we haven't offered in the past, and that's, we can fix this for you. It would cost more. We would bump it up to a better grade, obviously, but we could go through, or I shouldn't say better grade, a higher, like a solid A. We could go through and clean this up for you. And I could even do it on that right there. And you can kind of see it there. It's really hard to see. There's your, that's kind of where it should starting to go in. And it looks like they just probably came up on something and folded it just barely right there. So again, I kind of messed with it just a little bit, see if I could get it out. And it looks like it'll come right out. It's the actual seam there is still solid. It's not into that at all. Okay. And then again, now we're going to go into the nitty gritty of what we normally do. Which, let me show you a couple other spots because I know I mentioned these. This is another area that lives to blow out. This is perfect. There's no rot here. The floors, excellent. You're not going to have to replace any floors on them. Okay, both sides, excellent shape. All right, this here, starting to crack here. This is another area. You need to come in, re-weld it. There's unfortunately no support up here, which makes it awesome because you can get your hand all the way back here. Okay, I'm moving with my finger. This is a floating captured nut. Okay, again, you don't have to. I wouldn't even replace this here. I would literally get some weight, get a pry bar, push down on it, get this back in here and re-weld this. This is all it needs. This moves to allow you to line it when you go to bolt it back down, okay? And more than likely on some of this stuff, it just was poor maintenance. Just this got loose over time and over flexing, which just happens on CJs. That one's in good shape. Okay, so that's the bad. The good is this is the good, right? The torque pockets themselves. I mean, yes, this one's starting to collapse or get bad, but super easy. I mean, you can get as much or less involved as you want. But the thread, and look how clean it is. There's not a spot of rust. This did not happen because of rust here. This happened because it got loose and started flexing. That's what caused that, okay? So we're gonna count them out. There's 10 total. There's one here. Here's two. And again, these all supposed to float. This one's beautiful. This is the hardest one to replace, and it's the cleanest. There's 2, 3. Even the one with rust in it, beautiful. It came right out like butter, okay? And more than likely had just poured, I mean, this had a little bit of carpet in it, and more than likely they just had wet carpet always sitting in it, okay? All the underlayment you see on this thing is from the factory. Okay, that's what they did. It's not lined. This is actually the tar they use to help deaden the sound on it. So we got 3, 4, and 5. And the reason I did those that way, 1 is because that's the gas tank area that's above your gas tank. And 2, even though there's only 10, this is an extension bracket for support. They only did them on CJs, and it ties in over here. So technically there's 10, but if you consider these ones, even though these don't go to your frame directly anyway, they go to a bracket, but those are just as clean. There's 1 there and 1 here, okay? But just the sakes of keeping everything straight, we got 3, 4, 5. Again, nice, clean, boxed in area. This is a hard area to replace if it goes bad. There's no rot in it, okay? So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, then we got 6. Again, 7, you've seen that one. And then 8, again, clean, no rust. Nice, clean like it should be. 9, nice and clean. And 10. And notice this one's fine. That's what it should be. Okay, so that's it. I got a couple photos I got to take at the bottom. I'll get some close-ups of it. People always like those. If you're working with a body shop, this video is going to be your best friend. You're either going to bring it in and he's going to throw the phone at you and say, find me something better. Or he's done a few of these. He knows what's out there. He's going to go, yeah, I can work with that. I can fix that. So, and if he can't or you can't and you don't want to mess with it, again, for now, we don't always have this. And I very caution myself, because in 10 years, I get somebody calls me and goes, hey, you used to have, you'd be able to fix it. You know, I don't know how the situation will be then. Right now, we have a fabricator here. He's building a frame off that we're doing for a guy from LA. And so we have him, and he just did something very similar in that Jeep, and it came out great. So that is an option right now, and I can get you pricing if that's something you want on it. It's just what hours he bills us, because he is kind of a contractor in a sense. He's not an employee. He's just here on his own accord and charging us for what he charges on that job. Okay, but we can get that, and we can get this, and then from there you can take over, or we can, you know, we can go through as far as you want. I mean, we can get this thing spick and span. I can get it down to a body guy. I just, again, because we don't get these very often that are kind of I don't want to say mid-grade, but borderline mid-grade, we're going to put it up and list it, and we'll see. And if it sells, great. And if it doesn't, then we'll look at doing something later with it. I have a suspicion that we'll have this for about 2 weeks. We listed one yesterday, and it sold the day we listed it. And it had, out of all these things, it wasn't bent down here, didn't have that, had a couple dings on it, had this, but not quite blown out. It was still material there, but it's going to be the same story with that one. They're going to have to cut it out and do it, because it's too thin. Okay. All right. And that one was priced, like I said, about $800 more than this one's going to be. So, all right. 303-666-9020. Partsbreakers.com. The last thing I'll leave you with, we hit August 1st. August 1st kicks off technically our busy season really ramps up in January, but it starts around now because people start thinking back to school. What does that mean? That means cold's coming. Still a few months off from real cold, but cold temps bring project season. Project season brings tubs and frames. It's usually the time people are out playing in the summer, don't necessarily want to take their Jeep apart when they're playing with it. And in the winter, it gives them the opportunity to stay out of the cold and do a project like this inside. Okay, these things were factory all over, I think, for fuel and whatnot. So I pull them off so you can see them, but if you're wondering what that was. So anyway, the whole point to that is this time of year, we start running a hot shot every 3 weeks. We run a hot shot to the East Coast, which is pretty sweet. Now, on top of that, our rates for to your door delivery are significantly less, like literally a quarter of what a freight truck would charge. And I only know that because we used to do freight for everything. It was a pain in the butt. Customers hated it. Now we have almost a white glove service. They take it to your door. You don't have to schedule it. You don't have to worry about the freight guy being upset that he has this massive thing on his semi truck that's taking up the whole back area that his pallet jack can't fit. We do it all for you. And sometimes I even make those loads. But right now it's every 3 weeks. So we'll have him pick up. We're right in the middle of that time. So he'll be picking up here probably first part to middle of next week. And then if you catch that right, you'll have it within a week or two. If you catch it at the very beginning, 3 to 4 weeks, and you catch it right there at the very front, or the very end, you could have it in a couple days, which is always fun when it happens that way. But Okay. On top of that, we have a trip that I'm doing, which will be good deal, good rates on that trip. We have Tucson, Phoenix, Vegas, Reno, Salt Lake City, St. George, Cedar City, all those down through there that I'll be taking. And I leave not next Monday. So today's Wednesday, August 4th. Or no, today's Monday, August 4th. And I leave the 17th. So I think it's 2 weeks from today. Okay. So that's my trek. It may be, and I don't know which direction I'm going in first. Ultimately, that will be decided by how many more things we add to this load. But we'll get there when we get there. All right. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. I know this is a long video. There's a lot to show. And look forward to talking to you. Again, 303-666-9020.